3, 2, 1.
And now, you're tuned into the Navarro-Miller Report, featuring the hottest in news, entertainment, sports, and all those topics for the mainstream audience. The Navarro-Miller Report.
Examine your reality.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Navarro-Miller Report. I'm your host, Dave Navarro.
And I'm Jeremy Miller.
And I'm looking all weird like right now. Like, what the hell is going on with me? Hi, everyone. Oh, there's a camera right there. Okay, cool. So, wanted to welcome everybody to another wonderful episode of our podcast. And Jeremy, how you doing?
Doing okay, man. Doing okay. Excited. We got football back. So very excited.
Dude, my man, Monday was like hilarious. I mean, Josh, your brother. Oh my God, why are you guys going so fast with the freaking fantasy football? It's too much.
You know, it's my favorite time of the year, fantasy football time. It's my time to, put you in your place and let you know where you stand, which is, behind me in the pecking order.
And then you wake up. That's beautiful that you have dreams like that. It's good to strive for dreams, because when I'm champion of the league, as I, meant to be, I will be lowering this over you. Like,
he has such dreams, ladies and gentlemen, such big dreams. It's so sad that they will all be shattered and dashed.
you gotta love the what is it? The I can't find the word, the bullshit, really. See, he can't even sit still, people, because he has no idea what to do with himself and with me in front of him being the champion that I am.
Who won the last championship?
Asterix, mind you, Asterix. We both quit that freaking league, by the way. So
and who still won without even having to play his team,
I came in second on that one, and I didn't even play. If I would have played, you would have been right behind me, bud. It would have been.
I would have played. See, that's the thing. I didn't play either. See, I just would have made all the right moves to counteract everything you did.
See, and you had the thing is
no hope.
No, but here's the funny part. You had a better team than I did.
You see how he tries, folks. You see how he tries.
Oh, whatever. RC Miller saying, "Oh, come on, you're not talking about football." Of course we are. That's part of what the show is. You must be new. It's okay though. We'll forgive you. Wanted to welcome everybody to the Navarro-Miller Report, and as habit would be, we as usual, for those of you that are brand new to the show, I go ahead and make Jeremy watch a couple of blind react TikToks so that we could go ahead and really get the show on the road. So here's one for you. Now, this has to do with two rival pizza companies and a little prank that was, I guess you might call a wrong number dial. I don't know. Check it out.
Hey, John, welcome to get started for you today. Come again?
Wait, what? Hello?
Thank you for calling Papa John's. What can we get started for you? Would you like to try our large one-topping pizza for $7.99?
No, this is Domino's Houston.
Domino's.
It's actually $6.99. It's not Papa John's.
This is Domino's Houston. You're selling a large one-topping pizza for $6.99? Are you fucking kidding me?
And a 2-liter.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you trying to uppercut our prices? Is that what you're fucking doing? And you called us?
Wait, this is Papa John's?
Fuck you, Domino's. Your pizza tastes like fucking shit.
Papa John's, bro.
I got fired from Domino's. Domino's. They're not loyal to their fucking customers.
Because you couldn't make it. You're a
Pull up
fucking
on us.
pizza salesman.
Pull up.
What the hell is that? What is this? East Coast, West Coast? What the hell?
He's like, pull up on us. Let's go, son.
It's a fast food pizza place. Chill out, folks.
Oh my God! Hey, John Price, how you doing? Says Dave and Jeremy. Hi from Arkansas. Hey, John, how you doing, John? Oh my God, that was hilarious. Okay, so this is. It sounds like such a gang rivalry. It's so funny. I love it. Oh my God. Okay, so this next one. Oh my God. And welcome everybody that's watching us on TikTok right now. One Nation says dramatic dominoes or dominies. Oh my God. This next one actually kind of reminds me of something you would say to somebody, Jeremy, to be perfectly honest with you, knowing how much of a nice guy you are to really stupid questions. Check it out.
Hey there, y'all moving in?
No, ma'am. We just wanted to see what our stuff would look like inside this house, and once we see, we're going to move it back to our place.
That would so be something you would say to somebody, like, all the way.
I'm guilty. Absolutely.
Hey, Lincoln Bevers. Actor Lincoln Bevers is saying, what's up? Hey, Lincoln, how you doing, man? Oh
that
my
was
God.
too funny. That honestly, I wanted to be at the end of it. Like, here's your sign.
Dude, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's Jeremy. That's all the way him.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
He would definitely go ahead and say something
Oh
like,
man, I would not have high hopes for my new neighbors after a question like that.
No, you'd get a lot of dog duty on your front porch, that's for sure. This last one, now Jeremy, as a chef and as a Caucasian male, this, you tell me if this is true or not. I don't know. Go ahead and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm terribly confused.
You didn't see the first part, what it said?
Oh, I saw it.
They're pretty much making an impression of what white people usually look whenever they have something tasty. You know, I gotta admit, I did see you a couple times do that.
I'm a pasty white. No, you have not.
There's a couple of times that I did see you, like when you taste it, like, I saw you do that. I saw it.
You lie completely. I have never seen anybody do that, much less a white person, black person. Doesn't matter. I've never seen anybody react like that. You eat something that's bad, you spit it the hell out, and you're like, oh crap, that was awful. I don't know what that was about.
Well, JC actually, JC just so happens to say, just did those in 2 restaurants myself over the recent holiday.
Okay, well, JC and I have never had a meal together. I've never seen it.
Oh my God. And then One Nation on TikTok is saying, tasty or salsa. I think they had Tabasco. Oh, and of course,
a reaction to something super spicy, not nasty.
Yeah, true, very true. And then she has a message for you, Jeremy. She says, I have something to say. USC. Yep. And
Fight on, One Nation.
Fucking things, I swear.
2-0, baby.
And she says, right? You gotta love our audience. All right, so go ahead and we're moving on to some actual news here because this is getting ridiculous, getting crazy here. We have something. Is Florida man at it again? I heard something about a DA raid on Florida man. Florida man got the DA raided on him.
So Florida man was not in Florida. So this is a little bit of a twist on Florida man. And this is a fluent Florida man. This is not our usual run-of-the-mill meth head Florida man. This is a retired doctor who had his 70-foot yacht raided up in Nantucket.
Oh, so he's
area.
super Florida man.
Super Florida man. There was a report to the police that there was a woman at there was a female party on board the yacht who did not want to be there and was being kept from leaving, and there was also the possibility of an overdose. So when officials and police and firefighters responded, they found a woman in distress who the EMTs were able to help and get her off to the hospital. But in the search of the yacht, which was not in international waters, mind you, they found 43.5 grams of cocaine.
Of course.
14 grams of ketamine, 2 Smith & Wesson pistols, and also multiple sex workers who were also arrested. Owner of the yacht, Scott Anthony Burke, a retired doctor from Key West, Florida, was arrested and will be facing criminal prosecution.
I mean, who can? I mean, okay. To some people, that's a Saturday night. Okay, I mean,
I'm not here to criticize. If half an ounce of blow is your thing, more power to you. What are you doing not in international waters partying like that? The whole point of having a boat, a big yacht that you're going to throw these crazy parties at, is that you do it in international waters where you can't get in trouble for it. This guy was basically in the harbor and got busted. These are people not using their brains. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're a rich man and a smart man, if you're going to do criminal crap, use your brain.
International waters. Do it in international waters, damn it. Be smarter than that. We got Meg from Tallahassee. Of course, she's from Florida. She's like, oh, fuck, another Florida man, bro. We need to fucking chill out. Holy shit.
At least it was affluent, Florida man this time.
Oh my God. I can't with these people anymore. Like they make it so easy for us.
They do.
They really bless their heart. They just make it so freaking easy for us. Now that goes for, oh man, your stories. I gotta tell you, I love where you find some of these. We got a daughter dials DUI favor. What the freaking hell?
So we have a 21-year-old woman named Teresa who was arrested. Now, this apparently happened back in December of 2022, but it's starting to get a lot of press and a lot of notice at the moment. You'll find out why.
Okay.
So we have a 21-year-old who was pulled over, stopping at Wawa Grill on the way from an Applebee's. The officer noticed her swerving a little bit, pulled her over for suspicion of a DUI. She claimed, like everybody does, that she only had one drink, even though the reason they were responding was her car had been reported hitting a light pole and zooming off. When the officer questioned her about it, she swore she hadn't hit anything, even though the bumper was sitting in the middle of the intersection and her bumper was missing.
That's not my bumper, officers. That's someone else's. I saw them drive by there.
She tried everything she could and even resorted to dropping her father's name twice. Her father, who is a sheriff for the local county police. Well, they called her father. It didn't go the way she thought it would.
Hold on. I bet you anything. He picked up the phone and was like, new phone, who dis?
No, Daddy showed up.
Oh,
and he's getting a lot of praise for the way he handled this. Daddy showed up and basically told them to cuff her and take her ass to jail.
Yep. That's a good parent right there. That's good parenting.
And that is why it is coming into the news. This man is getting a lot of praise for allowing his daughter to face the consequences and accept responsibility for her actions. She tried to use his power to get out of something. He was not having it. So as she's being arrested, she starts screaming and crying out.
But Daddy!
No, she did. She starts screaming and crying out. Where was it? Sorry. As the handcuffs were being placed on her, she started screaming, Dad, I'm the captain of the soccer team. I'm not. Dad's response, cut the shit. You're getting arrested for a DUI.
Oh my God.
So kudos to this dad, man.
Captain of the soccer team.
I'm captain of the soccer
I
team.
got a soccer match this Saturday. I can't miss it.
Dad was having none of it, and kudos to him, man. That, I'm sorry. As a dad, I know the first instinct is you want to bail your kids out of trouble. You want
But
to
if they
protect
fuck
them.
up, that's their own problem.
It's not only their own problem, but if you don't let them accept the consequences and face those, then guess what? They're going to continue to make those mistakes, and those mistakes are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until somebody gets hurt. So, God bless this man for doing what he did. Unfortunately, there are too many people in power, whether it be police officers or otherwise, people with influence who let their kids get away with this crap. And the kids know it. They know that they can just drop daddy's name and everything's going to be fine. So God bless this man.
One of the comments on the TikTok chat, One Nation actually said, better than her unaliving somebody, and then 1 day in jail, better than life.
Exactly.
And that's actually something that my dad, and I've told you what my dad has always told me this whenever he punished me as a kid, whenever he whooped my ass for doing something stupid, he would tell me, he's like, son, I'd rather punish the boy of today. Takes the kid, because I even heard about this one, and I'm sure many of our viewers probably have heard about this one, but I'll let you take this one, Jeremy.
So this one is definitely going into our Hall of Fame. I think this is right up there. I think this is right up there with Florida man who had called the police because his meth wasn't pure and he wanted to file charges against his dealer. I think this is really right up there. So we have a man in Nebraska who was busted driving on the wrong side of the road after calling the police to report someone on the wrong side of the road. He was so messed up that he was reporting the legal drivers coming towards him, flashing their brights and honking at him. Oh my God. He reported them. So the cops came out and were like, wait a second, you said you're driving this car. They literally pulled him over and he realized what he had done.
Oh my God.
The driver said he had his brights on me, man. He almost rode me off the road. The police asked him, well, why do you think he did that? And the guy goes, yeah, because I was on the wrong side of the road.
Oh my God.
So the cops asked him if he was the one that called earlier. And the man said, yeah, because I thought somebody was on the wrong side of the fucking road. The officer responded, turns out it was you.
No, and then I heard in the tape, he actually said, he's like, I'm a fucking idiot. He actually said that in the tape.
He said what we're all thinking.
I lost it when he said that. I was like, yep, you sure are.
Calling 911 on yourself is a new one.
Oh my God.
Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
I'm just waiting for one of those zombies to call the cops on themselves and be like, officer, there's somebody chewing on my arm. Oh, no,
even the zombies are smarter than that. Even the zombies have more brains than that gentleman.
Well, they don't use the front door, though, so. Coming on to some entertainment news. As we all know, Danny Masterson was sentenced for 30 to life for multiple rape accusations, and he was charged and sentenced. But there were some friends actually that were actually sent letters into the judge basically asking for leniency. Some of those friends included Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, and a lot of the other co-stars from that 70s show and other people that know him, basically saying that Danny's a good father, he's a good husband, to just show some sort of leniency when it comes to sentencing, because they all knew he was going to prison anyway. And basically Ashton also said that, he's not a danger to society. He's not currently a danger to society or something around those lines. It's just it's tragic what happened to this man. Very talented actor. He made a lot of mistakes when he verdict. They're very satisfied with the sentencing, and they were very vocal about it. Again, it's tough. I mean, many people like Ashton, people like Mila, people like Topher Grace, all those people that were on that show with him. I'm wondering what they're thinking of. I mean, Jeremy, what would you think if one of your former, co-stars from your show would have this happen? I mean, what would be your first thought, especially if it's somebody that you've been friends with, somebody that you've hung out with, they practically are like family? I mean, how would you feel with something like this?
That's the thing. I've already been through it. There were two people on Growing Pains, both of which I was very close to. One was one of our executive producers. He was sent to prison for production of child pornography, not distribution, not possession, production of child pornography. So I've had that experience. Someone I was close to, someone I trusted, who did something beyond heinous. I was never asked to write a letter of recommendation. I think they knew that would never happen for something like that. In the other case, there were some sexual inappropriateness charges brought against a guy who had worked on our show, one who had been extremely close to my family.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me to write a character letter for him. Mm-hmm. And I agreed to do so. I told him, I have no idea what has happened or anything else, but I would have no problem writing a letter stating that you were around me, 16 hours a day, some days alone. We share, stating the facts that I was a young boy, that he was around and had beyond ample opportunity to be inappropriate with, to make a move, to do anything. And he never did. Now, that doesn't say he didn't do what he was accused of. He did jail time, and apparently the proof was enough, but he never did anything to me. So I didn't mind writing that letter. I ended up not writing it because I found out from someone very close to me that was even younger than I was that he had been very inappropriate with them.
Oh, wow.
I had been having a conversation with them, and I mentioned that I was going to be writing the letter, and I told them what I was going to say, and I saw the look on their face change. And I went, what? Tell me now. And he just looked at me and put his eyes down and said, he was really inappropriate with me a bunch of times and made a couple of moves on me and stuff. And so I didn't write the letter. I was very glad I got that information before I wrote the letter, and I vouched for this guy. So I can understand where Mila and Ashton and whoever else may have written him a character letter might be coming from. This is a different thing. This is something that happened long before. This does not excuse it. It does not make it okay, but it's a different situation than mine. It was something that with mine, it had happened recently. This was an ongoing problem. And at that point, I didn't feel like I could give this man a character letter or be someone who stood up for him. I can see how if somebody made a mistake a long time ago, no matter how horrendous, if they are truly a changed person, that their friends would still stand by them.
Yeah, and that now was the time to go ahead and say, you know what? Everybody's got to pay the piper, and you just did. And now you're paying for it 30 to life.
Yeah, I mean, and it's brutal, and I truly hope he is a changed man. I hope he feels, some serious remorse over what he did, and he's going to be paying a very heavy price for this. His lawyers, as all lawyers, do, claim that they have plenty to appeal on, and they've already had so many lawyers look over the case, and the judge made mistakes on this and that and the other. It's the same thing the lawyers always say. They have to say that. They have to file the appeal. But, the evidence seemed pretty damning, and it looks like he's going to be paying a very serious price. And that's, the truth. I've said this always. I told my boys this their whole lives growing up. You can do whatever you want in this life. Absolutely anything. You can kill someone. You can rape someone. You can do anything you want in this life. Are you willing to pay the consequences and the price? And that's the fact. I mean, you can do whatever you want. There are consequences. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't. But in this life, we can do whatever we want. You can go out and go on a killing spree. You can go out and do whatever you want. You're going to have to pay a price. And you know, Danny's paying it now.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Carl is saying somewhat like Stephen Collins of Seventh Heaven. That one's another one. Yeah, that one shocked the hell out of me because he was around a lot of children. That's a scary thought to have that type of a predator among a bunch of those little kids around him. That I was like, you got to be kidding me.
And unfortunately, people with that one, as far as I know, didn't acknowledge the warning signs, I guess, because a guy who would do that anymore.
Agreed. In other entertainment news, now this topic really pissed me off. Now, normally I like Bill Maher. I think he's very funny. I think a lot of the topics that he talks about have a lot of merit. They're very funny, controversial, whatever you like. But this one in particular was beyond stupid. He goes on a podcast and he makes comments about the Writers Guild of America strike. He goes on to say they're asking for a lot of things that are like kooky. What I find objectionable about the philosophy of the strike is it seems to be they have really morphed a long way from 2007 strike, where they kind of believe that you're owed a living as a writer and you're not. This is show business. This is the make or miss league. Now, my response to that is, well, Bill, the same can be said about your rhetoric bullshit that you keep on just sitting there looking at a camera and talking. I mean, in my opinion, you believe that you're owed a living as a host sitting on a chair reading the crap that you and your writers write on a weekly basis. You believe you're owed a salary. And guess what? You are, because you're entertaining. But a lot of the shit that you write or that you read comes from writers. And guess what? That's in front of the cameras.
Well,
Things that people are watching.
This is the entire point. And this is what I've been saying from the beginning. Without, as important as every single job in a production is, get paid enough, they are earning these companies millions and millions and millions of dollars. If it's so easy to go out and get another good writer, go find one. There are a lot of shitty scripts out there, tons. Be my guest. See how many people want to come see those films.
Not to mention the fact of the matter, he did make one good comment. It's show business. It's a business.
Exactly.
And to be able to like continue that business, you need a staff.
No,
you need workers to do that business.
To say that it's unrealistic and to say that, they're under the impression they deserve a living being a writer. No, that's not the impression. They deserve to be paid for their work that is bringing these companies millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. Plain and simple. Bill has completely lost the plot here.
Including his show. Because I know Bill, he writes a lot of his stuff, but he has a staff. Regardless.
All the best hosts have writers. Now, the Jimmy Kimmels, the Fallons, even Carson and those guys. I mean, they were brilliant and they did their own stuff. A lot of their material is their own. But there are a lot of writers who got very famous, who made a lot of money and who were able to project those careers forwards as writers because they were so esteemed as writers for these top comedians and these top show hosts. I know Bill probably writes a lot of his stuff, but he still has writers. One place that probably like shut down. It's okay. No problem there. We're streaming live on YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. So we're good. But yeah, no, I mean, it just sickens me that Bill as a person that's a writer, then again, he doesn't care. He has millions of dollars. He could give a shit about the little guy.
It's all
Bill,
about him.
Bill was about the little guy,
Yeah.
back when he started. It's what people loved about him.
Yep.
He's become quite an elitist. A lot of his opinions sound like, rich white guy giving them. I mean, that's just the truth. His whole demeanor and, I don't know, kind of platform has changed over the years. So, it is what it is. I don't agree with a lot of what he's said, recently. I used to love the guy. I really did.
Yeah, me too.
But it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've actually paid attention, to his show, because honestly, he's changed an awful lot. And, or at least his show has changed, and his focus, his opinions, and the things he tries to get across have definitely changed.
Yeah, no, I've lost complete respect for him. After these comments, I've lost complete respect for him. I will never watch another Bill Maher show. And I, invite everybody to boycott Bill, Real Time with Bill Maher, because if he thinks that writers, aren't owed anything, then guess what, Bill? Neither are you. You're not owed any audiences. You're not owed your paycheck. You're not owed anything. How about that? You work for free. Let's see how far that gets you. So that's man. I was so, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I gotta talk about this. That just angers me, because I'm a writer. I'm a writer.
I know, brother.
So it's like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Are you actually seeing people came out, and said this? So he at least took accountability and went ahead and apologized to any staffers he might have, wronged or whatever. Granted, I hear the hushed tones of the publicists telling them to do so, but I mean, that's just my guess here. What do you think, Jeremy?
Well, I'd say that's probable as well. I have a little bit different of a take on this. I grew up in a different era on the sets, and people need to toughen the hell up. Those shows have always been cutthroat. I mean, always, because it's always about who's got the next idea, the next skit, the next bit, whose lines and jokes are going to be used. It is a cutthroat business. And you knew this going in. All these people, I had such mental stress over it. And
they're looking for a cash cow.
Who freaking who?
Yeah, they're
seriously. You are in a high pressure, high stress business where you literally have to come up with brilliance on a daily basis. You chose that job. You got into this career. Now, does he have the right to just be berating people left and right and everything else? No, of course not. But is that uncommon on a set in a high pressure situation like that? You go to a Fortune 500 company and go F something up for them and see if your superior doesn't rip you a new one. Okay, this is not really that new. And I've told you, I mean, a lot of people, well, I can't say a lot of people, Joanna Kearns, who was played my mom on Growing Pains, had a lot of issues with the way our director would treat some of the guest stars. I didn't have much of an issue with it because he was very good to them as long as they did their job.
You fail the course and the teacher will berate you at the same time some of the time. I know this from experience.
Like I said, I mean, no one else ever voiced any issues about it. And I personally thought he was not that out of line because it only happened to, guest stars who were unprepared. People who came on and instead of doing their jobs were too busy over by the craft service table, chatting with people, too busy on their phone, talking with people, that was the stuff he couldn't tolerate, and he would go off. And I never saw it as inappropriate. Some people did. And times have changed, but seriously, if you're going to be in a high pressure business, you need to suck it up seriously, because that's the nature of these type of jobs. You have to bring it every single day. And that is a lot of pressure. Go ask the people who worked for Steve Jobs and worked at Apple during the, 107-hour weeks and stuff like that. Now, you choose a high pressure industry and then you want to bitch that you're under too much pressure.
Now, that is the pure definition of showbiz. That is show business right there. High pressure situations all the time. I mean, that's just the way it goes. If you're not prepared, they will recast and hire somebody else. That's just the way it goes. If there's just no if, ands, or buts. If you don't like it, tough. You shouldn't have chosen this job. This isn't the job for you. Go work at a, no offense to anybody that does call centers or anything like that, but go work at a call center. And even call centers are still high pressure too. I mean, even those are high pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the time. They're constantly making sure that he's doing the job that he was hired to do. Mm-hmm. And if he can't do it, there's thousands of others that are lining up to go ahead and take his place. So they want to be confident that he knows how to handle his team. Just Absolutely. Like Jay Leno did, just like Johnny Carson did. All of those guys before him, they all knew how to handle their team. And if you can't handle your team, then Jimmy seems like a nice guy, but and because I think he seems like a nice guy, people probably think they could walk all over him because he's a nice guy, because he looks like he's a nice guy and he looks like somebody that wouldn't fight back. So that's why it was shocking to me when I heard this. I was like, really? Jimmy Fallon of all people? The guy's like the nicest freaking dude. He's, every single celebrity that's come on the show has said nothing but great things about him, saying that, oh my God, the difference between you and other late night show hosts is that you actually enjoy, having us and are cool with us and have like a fun atmosphere, instead of being so serious.
I hate to bring this up, but to make a comparison, that's the thing, is you just never know how people are with their staff. Don't
True.
judge someone on how they treat their equals.
True.
Treat them on how, judge them on how they treat the people below them, on the ladder.
Yeah, well, look at Ellen DeGeneres.
That's what I was bringing up.
Yeah.
Every celebrity who ever went on there had nothing but rave things to say about her and how wonderful. And her crew was ready to quit en masse, at one point, because it was so miserable working for her. So you just never know. I mean, that's the truth. Performers are paid to perform. And, the truth is we're good at putting on the mask.
This as well. Basically, we all have our moments where we get plastered drunk. I mean, I've had my moments and we all act up. Robin's case, he was filmed the entire time. He was stumbling. He almost fell over a potted plant. And his girl was trying to kind of keep him in line. And she's like, Robin, oh my God, you're so messed up. I mean, you're completely messed up, saying a bunch of saying these things while they were filming. And she was like, that's embarrassing. This is embarrassing. They're filming us right now. They're filming it. She's telling him this. And he's just all smiles. Just trying to grab his phone, kind of being a little bit aggressive towards her, not physically trying to grab her, and not just playfully just trying to grab his phone and everything. And finally their Uber gets there, and he's got her on a grabs her from the back as a bear hug and just walks her, just oh my God. She seems really annoyed by his actions so much. She was like, oh my God, I can only imagine what she told him this morning or what she told him on the ride home. Are you kidding me? All the cameras and you're acting the way you're acting. I mean, Jeremy, you have the floor. I mean, he's your friend, man. I mean, what do you have to say about this?
Well, first of all, I have plenty of experience with this. As you know, my beautiful Joni is the sweetest person in the world.
Yep.
But, even before it was a problem, she didn't like dealing with me when I was a total drunk, sloppy drunk a-hole. I mean, that wasn't, it's not fun for every one of us who has done that has plenty of moments we wouldn't have wanted on camera. I mean, if you can tell me you go out and drink regularly and have yet never had one of those nights where you're like, dear God, thank God the cameras weren't around. I'll call you a liar. Okay. I'll call you a liar right now. If you're a regular drinker who goes out and enjoys a little party, and you've had those nights, we all have. So I don't want people to blow this up too much. I mean, I don't know what
we're all guilty of it.
Everybody's been guilty of it at one point or another.
Yep.
Now, could he be, having an issue at the moment and struggling with a few things? It's possible. It's possible that this was just a glimpse into that, but it's also just as likely, if not more likely, that, he had a night, he went too far, and like all celebrities, you're on camera now, so it's going to get recorded and reported.
Oh, yeah. One Nation on TikTok says, I hated going through that with an ex. Never a good time babysitting. That's for damn sure.
Exactly.
And then, of course, Jody, she just put 100%. She agreed 100% with that one. Real quick, before we go to commercial here, I wanted to go ahead and bring up one little sad piece of news. Obviously, we know Smash Mouth lead singer Steve Harwell passed away earlier this week at the age of 56. He was an incredible talent. And it was just very sad to hear what happened to him. It was liver failure. Apparently, speaking of drinking, he had issues with that for a very long time. His band tried to actually visit him in his last days, and they weren't allowed to go ahead and visit him. But we got the news. Actually, I saw the news on Sunday from his.
You know, he wasn't able to get help beforehand and before the damage was too much. You know, the liver is the one organ that actually does repair itself. So for anybody out there struggling who's thinking of getting sober, please reach out to somebody, because at some point this is what happens and the liver can't repair itself anymore. But, you know, I was blessed enough that I managed to get help and get sober early enough that I have been checked and I don't have lasting liver damage, which with the amount of alcohol I put into my body over a, 15, 20 year period is a miracle.
Yeah.
But, you know, all I can say is prayers to his family, and that's a really rough situation and he'll be missed.
Oh, most definitely. JC Strickland says, rest in paradise, Harwell. You will be deeply missed. Godspeed. So very sad news. But I mean, we'll continue to honor his memory by continuing to play his amazing music all the time. So rest in peace, Steve Harwell. We'll be right back with some sports for you, including Dylan Dennis gets sued. I'll tell you more about that coming up next.
Listening to stuff has never been so enjoyable. If you had the misfortune to have been born after 1990, then you missed out on a lot of cool stuff. Then Is Now podcast is here to remedy that. Join Rigor and his dedicated band of rotating hosts as they tackle pop culture of the past and how it relates today. From celebrity interviews to film and TV discussion and beyond, Then Is Now podcast brings you up to speed on all the cool stuff that you should know about. Plus, the East meets the West. If you enjoy movies that have lots of shooting and fighting, then there's a whole world of films out there that you don't even know about. Join our hosts on a journey as they discuss the amazing kung fu films of the
Sport and Navarro-Miller tea anytime. Well, we're figuring it out.
It's not close, but we are working on it.
But I mean, could you imagine this beautiful face on a coffee mug? I mean,
it'd be the first one I broke.
Damn, that's just so uncalled for, Jeremy.
Hey, I passed up on like 3 of them earlier when we were talking about scripts and you being a writer. So I'm being nice. I'm being nice today.
Hey, I'm actually you praised me for being a good writer, right?
Oh, I have, but you left me too many openings. I was really hard to let those go.
Whatever. I'm done. I'm done with you. I quit on all this. See you guys later. Have a nice day. Bye. Hate you. In sports, Nina Agdal sues Dylan Dennis over Paul fight trolling, files for a restraining order. Now, Nina is Logan Paul's fiance, and I follow Dylan Dennis actually on social media. Man, has he been ruthless. Like, he has been talking so much shit about her and Logan Paul's relationship. Granted, we all know that Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis are set to fight, very soon. And, this is just feeling for the fight. And Dylan's basically saying, this is just me talking shit about the fight. Talk shit about your opponent. But now you're talking crap about his fiance. And that's a different story. Like, she has nothing to do with the fight, and I mean, in a sense, I kind of have to agree with her, because not too many fights that I've seen or anything like that have the fighters talked about each other's wives or each other's girlfriends, for that matter. Like, they have nothing to do with the fight.
You know me, I'm a huge boxing fan, and I have 2 instances, and they were both involving Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya was coming up against Fernando Vargas. They had a huge rivalry, both coming from LA. Vargas was from East LA, and I think De La Hoya was from Oxnard, or the other way around. But Vargas had been involved in gangs and had been more of a street guy, and he always got on Oscar about being a fake Mexican, basically, you know, and not being a real, you know, Latino and all this other. And that, again, that stuff's all fair game in the fight game. But then he crossed the line and started talking about Oscar's wife. And Oscar got pissed. You could see it in the press conferences. He basically told him, you have questioned, you know, that you have insulted the two things I love the most in this world, my heritage and my wife. And I'm going to fuck you up, was basically how he destroyed. I mean, I saw him come out. I was a fan of, you know, De La Hoya. I saw him come out with a fire I had never seen him come out before. I mean, he reminded me of like Camacho and those guys back in the day. He was on fire. And then Ricardo Mayorga, who had a big mouth anyway. This guy loved to piss people off and then get his butt kicked in the ring for it. But he actually made really derogatory comments directly about Oscar's wife and like him, you know, him screwing her and all this other. I mean, he got real.
Was this Shayna Moakler?
It might have been.
I think that during that time he was married to Shayna at that time, I believe.
I don't know. This would have been 15, 20 years ago when he was really in his prime. But
I mean, it's her. She's the one that's suing. Well, the reason why, actually, there is a reason why to that, actually. According to TMZ, it says Agdal added in the suit that many of Dennis's other posts have upset her, including a tweet he made on August 28th that she says showed a video of her from more than 6 years ago where she talked about, quote, her desire for intimacy during a period of celibacy. She claims in the suit that the vid had been stored deep in her Snapchat archive, quote, suggesting Dennis had hacked her personal account or had obtained the private video from someone who had done so. She's asking for unspecified damages in the suit, but wants no less than $150,000 per violation of the federal law prohibiting the sharing of intimate images. So that's mainly why she's asking for that lawsuit. I mean, you know, I don't know. And then
this is a new law that's out there, and there was actually just a major case about this within the last month that was decided, and a woman was awarded like $100 million against a man who had spread her intimate pictures all across the internet. So if this was an actually intimate picture, a boudoir photo, a lingerie photo.
No, it was a video. It was a video of just her saying that, you know.
Then this is not an intimate photo that would qualify under that law. Now, does she have a point about the possibly hacking thing? She may have some legal ground there, but with the sharing of intimate photos, that is not an intimate photo. That doesn't fall under the designation. So she has no legal recourse there.
On top of that, well, I mean, she also filed a restraining order, and Dennis, his response, he actually tweeted about it. So we'll see. Well, I'm actually looking forward to that fight. I want to see what happens. If Logan has the same De La Hoya fire in him, you know, but
we'll see, man. You don't cross the family.
We'll see. Our final story before we take off here. NFL season is here tonight. Actually, right now, I believe. Last night. It's Friday.
It's Friday night. There is no football tonight.
I keep pulling out the weeks off for me.
This is the night all the Texas people are at the high school football game. You can't have the NFL going when they're not home to watch.
No kidding.
It's not me ragging on. That's the truth. I mean, that's high school football on Friday nights is religion in Texas.
Well, that's why they had the TV show Friday Night Lights. So last night was a shocker. I mean, not to you, but for many people, it was a shocker that Kansas City lost by 1 point against Detroit. By 1 point. That was just by 1 point. But still, that still speaks volumes on how Detroit performed, though. I mean, against a championship caliber team such as Kansas City.
No, it definitely does. As you and I talked about a little beforehand, you know, Detroit really kind of came on strong at the end of the year last year. They only missed the playoffs by one game. If they had won one more game, they'd have been in the playoffs. This is a team that hasn't won a home opener in 6 years.
Yep.
Hasn't won their opening game in 6 years. This is huge for this franchise. And to do it against the defending world champions was gigantic. Now, again, you got to temper it a little bit because Travis Kelce, the man who Kansas City's offense revolves around, who every play goes through in some form or fashion, was unable to play.
Yep.
And 3-4 years after that, you're going to get the top picks, you're going to get all the advantages, and it makes for some, more interesting football rather than watching the same three teams, dominate every single week. So I thought it was a great game. I watched the whole thing. It was a lot of fun. And, again, I don't like taking anything away from Detroit, but DeVarius, I think his first name is DeVarius Toney, who was the receiver for Kansas City, had 4 dropped passes, 4 on the night. 2 of them open field, downfield, touchdown passes. Like, he had nobody within 5 yards of him. All he's got to do is catch the ball and run another 20 yards and he's got a touchdown. He hit him right in the hands. Not a hard pass, not a difficult catch, and he dropped him. So that's a little worrisome. He's certainly not one of their top receivers, but he was expected to be a strong backup or number 2 or 3 man. That's going to have to get cleaned up. That's a little worrisome for the Chiefs. But again, they had an opportunity. I mean, if those 2 touchdowns get converted, we're having a whole different conversation here. We're talking about how well Detroit played, but still lost. So.
No, I have to agree. JC actually asked a really good question where the NFL is concerned, generally speaking, who are each of your top 5 teams? Now, JC, I don't know if you mean top 5 teams as far as our prediction for the Super Bowl or top 5 teams as far as favorite goes. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, my top team is always going to be Green Bay Packers. That's going to be my top team. Are they going to make it to the Super Bowl? More than likely not. They are in a
more than likely not.
To their top tier players throughout the year, and they're just rebuilding from this point up. So therefore, this is not their year. Probably next year probably won't be their year either, but give them a couple of years, we'll see what happens, in my opinion. Obviously, Kansas City is more than likely going to make the Super Bowl. San Francisco right behind them. I hate to say it, but probably the Jets. They have Aaron Rodgers and they have a lot of talented players on the Jets team right now. Detroit's looking pretty good. They're looking pretty hungry, and I hate Detroit. You know how much I hate Detroit. They're our rivals, but I got to give it to them. And then I think finally I would have to say with the Cowboys.
That's some decent picks. I personally, as I've told you guys before, I don't really have an NFL team anymore. I was a huge Rams fan. Went to games as a kid, loved the Rams. Even though they broke my heart all the time. And when they moved to St. Louis and then won a championship for St. Louis, I lost my interest in the team, and having them back, that same passion is not there. So I follow all the teams now, truthfully, and anywhere where a USC player is and is excelling or has a starting spot, I'm going to be following that team. I'm going to be, that's one of the reasons I like Detroit. They've got a couple good SC players. Amon-Ra St. Brown is their number one, their number 1 receiver, blew up last year, going to be even better this year. That's kind of what I follow. I like to see where the USC quarterbacks go, the running backs, the defensive guys, and then I kind of follow those teams throughout the season just to see how they're doing. But that's one of the reasons why I'm so big into fantasy football. It gives me a reason to consistent running backs in the league. It's just a strong team. If they've upped their defense at all, I think they really have a strong shot at going this year. Kansas City's always going to be in the discussion.
I think the Niners as well. I think the
Niners will probably be in the discussion as well. They've got a really, really strong team, a really strong defense.
Yep.
And, everybody's very high on Brock Purdy. We saw what he could do last year. I am not so high on the Cowboys. They are an incredibly talented team again this year, but it's one of the few times I will agree with Stephen A. Smith, the ESPN analyst, that the Cowboys will do what the Cowboys do. They're going to look good for a while, then they're going to start blowing games. They're going to get close, and then they'll screw it up in the playoffs.
Sounds like the Raiders.
It's what Dallas does. I'm sorry. It's what they've done every single year. Yeah. They've been expected to compete for the Super Bowl. Ever since the Aikman, Emmitt Smith years, that's been their MO, and I think they'll do it again. I think they'll play strong throughout the year. They're going to blow a bunch of games, maybe not get as high of a seeding as they're supposed to, and then they'll put up a dud in the playoffs like always.
And that's pretty much the bottom line. I mean, honestly, I agree with all that. The Cowboys, the only reason why I chose the Cowboys is because I forgot about Cincinnati. I forgot about Cincinnati and the Niners. I forgot about them too. So,
You said the Niners.
Oh, okay. And also Philadelphia. That's another team that's actually in the running as well.
Philly would be in my top 5 as well. They're going to be a strong squad this year. Jalen Hurts coming back, was it 3rd or 4th year now as the starter? This is really going to be a time for him to blossom. Great receiving.
From 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you watch and listen to my radio show On the Ride Home with Dave Navarro every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 2 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be back here again as usual. Apologies for last week not being here. We kind of had some technical issues on my end. Not this time, it was on my end, not on Jeremy's end. So we wanted to apologize for that. But we wish everybody to have a wonderful weekend. For that, I'm your host, Dave Navarro, along with this USC loving mother.
And I'm Jeremy Miller. Fight on, guys.
We'll see you guys next week on the Navarro-Miller Report. You guys have a great weekend. Bye.
You have been listening to the Navarro-Miller Report. This episode of the Navarro-Miller Report was brought to you by the Dorkening Podcast Network and sponsored by Deadly Grounds Coffee.